time I have 200 meters to go between two distances or two known points, that means I have to walk 120 paces. All right? All right, the next thing you want to do is you want to plot your grid points. And like I said earlier, you read a map right and up. So what you do to plot grid points is you take a protractor right here, and in the bottom of your map, on your legend, you find a scale to your map. Each map's different, and there's 3 different types of scales, so it's important that you find which scale you want to use. For that map right there, it would be the 1/50,000. So you line it up on the bottom, you go right, and then up, and then you follow the numbers, and then you plot your grid points from there. I'll pass this around so y'all can get familiar with this as well. All right, the last thing you need to know before you put everything together is your azimuth. All right, you find your azimuth by using your compass. All right, and what you do, you get your 2 points on your map, you plot both points, and you draw a line between each point, and then you figure out your azimuth depending on what the protractor says. Once you get your protractor, once you get your protractor lined up to your azimuth, you pull out your compass, you find your azimuth on your compass, and then you figure out your pace count, and then you go from there. All right, and the last thing is putting everything together. The steps I take to put everything together for land navigation is first thing I do is plot all my points given. And then the second thing I do is plot them again, because it's easy to make mistakes, so make sure you just do it twice. The second step is to make a plan of travel. You don't want to backtrack, because that's a waste of time. If you have 3 hours to find 8 points, you want to make a plan, make a big circle. I usually start from my furthest point out and make a circle all the way around, so I come back in. The next step is find all distances between each point and then find their azimuths. So you already have everything done. So when you're out there actually in the field trying to complete land navigation, you don't get all jumbled up and all your information gets mixed up. You already have everything right there in a piece of paper. And what I do is I take one of these little notebooks right here and I go ahead and write everything down, all my points, which points I'm going to, and distances and azimuths between each point. And then the last step is when you figure out your plan of travel, you physically stand up, you take out your compass, you shoot your azimuth depending on what you figured out is your first point. And you should get that azimuth, you look at it, you figure out your pace count, and then you start walking. You put your compass down and you start walking to your first point. Alright, to wrap it up. Today, I've taught everyone how to successfully complete land navigation in the most basic form. Like I said earlier, we're all about to be officers, and this is really important to know how to use a map, because if everything else fails technology, this is what we can rely on, and this is the difference between life and death. At this time, I would like to open up for any questions. Yes, sir?
Which is more accurate, the center hole for the compass, or the compass cheek?
Well, it's not one more accurate or not. It's the compass cheek. I use that one at nighttime because the dials light up, and at nighttime you can really see it. And compass cheek is in daytime. If you just want to get a general direction, you can see far off. You can find your azimuth, pick like a tree or hill or something like that, and go from there.
Oh.
Does that make sense? Yes. Anybody else? Yes.
Is there a difference between a running and walking pace count?
Yes. When you're walking, obviously it's going to be just your normal steps like this right here. So every time your left foot hits the ground, that's 1. Okay, running, you're going to be 1, 2. You're going to physically be running, so your running pace count is going to be shorter. My running pace count is like 47, 48. So it all depends. It's person to person on what it's going to be. Anybody else have any other questions? All right, thank you all very much, and this concludes my speech on land navigation.